Okay, now for some fun. Tonight we will have John Hay, who is a member of the Lincoln Northeast Kiwanis Club, bring us some trivia. And John is a 16-year member of Kiwanis. He was a member in Norfolk, Nebraska before coming to Lincoln. But he is also the son of one of our current lieutenant governors, Paul Hay from Beatrice. Thank you, John, for helping us celebrate with some trivia tonight.
Well, I'm pleased to be here. I'm really glad that I'm doing the fun part. That means everything that was done before wasn't fun, right?
Right.
Okay, we're in good shape then, and that's what I was thinking. No, it's been good. We're going to do a little trivia today, and I want all of you out there watching this to join in a little bit. And the way we're going to do that is that you have a chat box on your screen there, and you can click chat. But when you use the chat, you want to make sure that you're chatting to all panelists and attendees so that everybody can see it, including myself. And so when I bring up a question, you go ahead and type the best guess for that answer right in the chat box. And if I see a good answer, maybe I'll call it out. And so we're gonna do our best with that. So I've got a number of categories today, and we're gonna try to keep this fairly short. I want to give at least a shout out to my old club, the Norfolk Morning Kiwanis Club, because that was the Kiwanis Club where I started doing trivia with, and they did trivia as their normal meetings, and it was so much fun that when I became the president of the Lincoln Northeast Club, I brought that as a tradition to that club, and it has remained a tradition for a number of years where we do trivia at each of our meetings. And so I've kind of been known for that a little bit. I'm also known for some questions that are maybe a little off the wall, so we'll see how that goes. I've got three categories today. We've got history, Nebraska-Iowa, and we've got service. And we'll go ahead and we're going to just jump right in here. So for our first one of history is, which city was the first Kiwanis Club formed in 1915? Now, Lenora said some of these answers earlier, so we really are checking to see if you're listening. And I'm seeing a lot of people jump up with the right answer real quick. I see Robert from Marshall and Randy G with Detroit. I see one wrong answer there. Sorry, Bill, with Chicago. But so we got a lot of people answering Detroit, and so we're just gonna say that that's correct. It was Detroit, Michigan, is where that started, and so the first club was in Detroit, Michigan, and that was 100 years ago, and we're so proud that group was able to do that. Now, here's where my trivia mind goes into effect. I said, well, now we have this simple question that was answered Detroit. Now you have a little harder question, which is created in 1866 by a pharmacist. This is known as the oldest soda in America. Now, this is a Detroit question because that pharmacist was in Detroit. So let's see what we got here. We have Robert saying Coca-Cola. We have Jim saying Coke. We have some Dr. Pepper coming up. We have Steve with Coca-Cola. I haven't seen a right answer yet, you know. Anybody have any guesses from the room? This is a Michigan original, people. Think about Michigan. Who here has been to Michigan and drank the original Michigan soda? The answer is Vernors. The answer is Vernors. And because the people in the room are a little disappointed, I did bring Lenora a Vernors, so you can try it. And see what you need to do when you open a Vernors, if you're a good true Michigan, you open it and then you give it a nice smell, and that's because it really is strong ginger and tickles your nose. It's really quite good. This is the taste of my childhood because going to my grandmother's house in northern Michigan, this is what we always had, and so you can get it around the nation now, but give Vernors a try. All right, now. We're going to get a little, Kiwanis is really a pin culture, right? And I got my 3 pins on today, and the real correct way to wear a pin is to tilt that pin at a 15-degree angle, but the question is why? Is it in honor of the first year, 1915? I said 1920 earlier. Actually, 1915 was the first year of Kiwanis. Is it aesthetically pleasing? Is it to remind us that we're all imperfect? Easy, I have easier to read. Good, good. It gets noticed. That's good. It's aesthetically pleasing. Good guesses. Good guesses. First year. Lon said the first year. Shirley said it's because we're imperfect. I do think we're all imperfect. Now, we're a long ways away from the podium today, so I wanted to bring this up. The answer is because it was the first year, the founding of Kiwanis, and I did make Lenora a pin because this is a pin culture. We got to be wearing our pins. And this one is purposely set at a 15-degree angle, so it'll hang appropriately when you wear it. So you can put that on, and she's got it, and it is crooked. It's the other crooked, so it's maybe negative crooked. 15. Does that work? Yeah. You're imperfect, Lenora. It's okay. So, all right. So here we go. We're still in Kiwanis history. We got a little bit of history from Lenora earlier. Let's go a little bit deeper and maybe more complex. But before Kiwanis was the name of the organization was called what? The Detroit Builders, the United Businesses for Detroit, the Supreme Lodge, Benevolent Order of Brothers, or the Order of the Moose? Let's see what we've got. We've got, now Lon is right on here. He says it's the Bobs. And William says Supreme Lodge. And we have the Brothers Bob. I like that one. That's a good one from Paul. So United Businesses for Detroit is a guess from Tracy. Good guess, Tracy. So this is a little bit of, maybe this was the time in 1915, but the answer is it was the Benevolent Order. So just think that today we could be the SL Bob serving the children of the world. Now, Lenora, I don't want to leave you out. I did think it's important, if we're going to have the SL Bob, I do have an SL Bob's International pin for you. Now, this one is SL Bob's, Lenora, because it shouldn't be Bob. It should be the Supreme Lodge Benevolent Order of Brothers and Sisters. Good. Very important that we are inclusive. So it's the SL Bob's. So, all right, we're going to switch categories here and do a couple a little more closer to home, Nebraska-Iowa questions. In Nebraska-Iowa district, the first club was formed in Omaha. Where was the second club? So we heard that the first club was Omaha, and let's see what we're hearing from people. We have a Des Moines. We have a Lincoln. We have a Lincoln. We have a Des Moines. Was it Des Moines, Lincoln, Council Bluffs, or Iowa City? So it looks like we're kind of stuck between Des Moines and Lincoln. We're not quite sure. We're not giving the others any love, but that's okay because it is either Des Moines or Lincoln. We'll narrow it down to those two. And the answer is that number 2 was Lincoln and number 3 was Des Moines. So I'm still trying to get my head around the fact that Omaha and Lincoln were the first 2 clubs, and yet we were still the Western Iowa district. I don't understand that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But, maybe it was a popular vote and Iowa had more votes because they have more people. But so now we know that Lincoln was number 2, so let's have a question about Lincoln. Okay? Let's have a question about Lincoln. And when I say Lincoln, I'm thinking Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is the first president born west of the Mississippi, enshrined in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, or known for his excellent singing voice. What do you think? Number 2. I have Robert Marshall says born west of the Mississippi. I have Randy enshrined in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Steve with born on the Mississippi. Byron with a wrestler. Paul with West, born west of the Mississippi. John with singing voice. So really, we're not quite sure about this one. We're kind of all over the board, which is okay. That's actually makes me feel good. When you're guessing, I'm feeling good. Okay? So we're guessing. The answer is that President Abraham Lincoln is enshrined in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. And when I say wrestling, what I'm talking about is kind of real wrestling, you know, Olympic style wrestling. So if you go down to Stillwater, Oklahoma, to the Wrestling Hall of Fame, this picture on the left-hand side is on the wall. And Abraham Lincoln was quite a wrestler. They didn't have it as an official sport at that time, but he loved challenging people to to wrestling matches, and thus he is enshrined. So the picture on the right is kind of a picture that's been floating around. It's a meme that's going around the internet, and people kind of like it. Obviously, it's a made-up image, but I thought, you know, how good would Lenora look with a wrestling belt? So I got Lenora a wrestling belt.
Oh my goodness! There you go.
So, and that's a nice Kiwanis wrestling belt. So she can take that and wear that around and be proud of Kiwanis. Just be happy it's not an Slobob wrestling belt, you know. So. All right. Now, were you paying attention? How many international presidents have come from the Nebraska-Iowa district? 1, 2, 3, or 4? I'm seeing some answers of 2 out there, and 4, and 2, and 4. So Jim and Arlen and Nancy say 4. Dennis says 2. John says 2. All right, Lenora, she listed them all. How many are there?
4.
Now, without looking at your notes, Lenora, name them.
Okay, Ray Crossman, Wes Bartlett, Steve Siemens, and Jane Erickson.
All right. Can Lenora name them? Yes, she can. And they are Ray Crossman from Omaha, Wes Bartlett from Algona, Steve Siemens from Des Moines, and Jane Erickson from Bellevue. So those are our 4 international presidents from our district, and we're very proud that they were able to serve. So, okay. So now this is a truly guess question, you know, unless you really are studying up on our district. So let's see some numbers. How many clubs are in the Nebraska-Iowa district? I have 144, 165, 163. We're really in a kind of a ballpark here, so we maybe have some people that are studied up. 200 clubs plus or minus. And so we're playing Randy's really playing the curve here. We're just going to guess a range, you know. John is at 360, so on the higher end so far. Jim says 163, Dennis says 146. So we've got kind of a range here from about 144 to 360. Well, I can tell you, that's right. It's in that range. The answer is there's 163, and they stretch out from as far west as Ogallala, Nebraska, to as far east as Iowa City, and north and south quite a ways as well. So that's quite a range, and we take up most of those 2 states with our clubs, and we're really proud to have all those clubs, 163 clubs. Let's change over and just do our last section here of service. Americans volunteer approximately how many hours each year? What do you think? 3.6 billion hours, 4.5 billion, 5.8 billion, or 6.9 billion? That's a lot of hours. So I've got a guess of kind of all of them, 4.5 from Paul, and John's guessing 6.9, and Byron's guessing 5.8, and William's guessing 6.9. The answer is it's 6.9 billion hours, and you are part of that. That's worth, they estimate, $167 billion in hours. That's 29 hours per adult per year. And I know that some of the people listening here have exceeded that 29 hours by a lot. And I would challenge you, if you don't get to those hours, get there and beyond, because obviously Kiwanis and Kiwanis volunteers are part of who are skewing that average with their number of hours. There's a lot of hours being volunteered in this organization. We're really proud of that. So keep it up. We're finishing up here. I think this might be our last question is, which is not a Kiwanis Service Leadership Program? Is it Kiwanis Kids, K Kids, Builders Club, Key Club, Circle K, or the K Club International, Circle K, or the Action Club? Now, it doesn't look like I've fooled some of you. Some of you are getting the answer. So Jim says Builders is not. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, Jim, but it is. So that's not the right answer. But most of you got that right, and it is the correct answer, meaning it's the wrong answer, is K Club International is not one of our service leadership clubs. Our service leadership clubs are mostly youth-oriented clubs, but are clubs that we sponsor to try to extend that service to new and different groups from elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and also some adults in the Action Club with people with other abilities. And so we're really happy to sponsor those clubs. And because Kiwanis is such a pin-oriented culture, I brought my pin and my medallion here, and medallions are a big part as well. So you get medallions. I brought some medallions for Lenora. And so Lenora, come on up. I have a medallion for K Kids. I have a medallion for Action Club.
It's getting heavier.
And these are very heavy. They're made of foam board. And one for Builders Club and Key Club, and one for Circle K. And Lenora, we thank you so much for your service, and please wear all of your medallions and your belt, wear them proudly, because you really are making a difference to all of those organizations, and we really appreciate it. That's the end today. Thank you so much for all of your participation and for letting me help today. And she's fixing my medallion. Thank you.
Thank
Very
you,
good.
John. Thank you very much.